Dr. Bishu and Cam. What is tangible? Cam was born in Vietnam. As a little girl, her life was being formed around a war. Living so close to the president's palace made her house a probable target for bombing. Safety was inside the large gates that surrounded her upscale home. From inside her gates, Cam would try to peek out at the people on the streets, the poor, homeless, and disabled. She was never told about the people outside the gate. They were being treated more like landscape than humans. Being disabled was considered a sin in her country. However, Cam always felt a human connection to them. She did not understand why her family, maids, and house attendants did not see what she saw. One day the gates were open, and Cam saw a homeless child about her age. The child, a little boy, was looking around for food. Cam did not have food, but she did have a doll with her. She walked past the open gates to give it to the little boy. The look on the little boy's face touched her heart. It was as though it was the first gift he ever received. He thanked her, and she smiled, and she started back into the gates. Then a bomb landed right where Cam left the little boy. In an instant, he was gone. Cam was knocked to the ground. She tried to get up, but she kept falling down. When she looked at her leg, she noticed the hole the size of her fist with blood running out. She did not feel anything. She just stared at the spot where she was standing a moment ago with the little boy. Someone who works for her parents grabbed her and took her to the nearest hospital, which happened to be an army hospital. The doctors at the hospital seemed reluctant to do much for Cam. They tried to make her comfortable, but there was no hope in their eyes when they looked at her injured leg. Cam was in shock and could not feel her leg. She kept thinking about the little boy. A nurse stayed with Cam most of the time she was at the hospital. The nurse would talk to her like a person, even though Cam did not speak much English. She helped Cam feel calm. When the doctors came to look at Cam's leg, they shook their heads slowly. They said something that made the nurse speak up and stand between the doctors and Cam. The doctors would eventually walk away. The nurse kept trying to get Cam to smile, but she could not. One day when the doctors looked at her leg, their eyes lit up and they smiled. They patted her good leg and said something she did not understand and walked away. A few days later, Cam was able to go home. She had a difficult time walking for a long time, but she never stopped trying. As she grew up, she never forgot about the little boy. The pain she felt inside tormented her for many years. She had nightmares of reaching out to the people outside of her gate and them fading away. She talked to her mother about what happened, and her mother would tell her she was very lucky she did not lose her leg. Cam knew if it wasn't for the nurse at the army hospital, she would not have a leg. She would be disabled like the people outside the gate. Cam remembered the nurse. Her name, Dottie. Living in a world that looked away from the less fortunate tormented Cam on the inside. When she was a teenager, Cam sought out every form of rebellious experimentation she could find: drugs, alcohol, and sex. She was spiraling downhill until she reached bottom. From there, she knew she could not go any further. She was ready to face her demons. She sobered up and came across a healer on a Native American reservation named Zandria, who helped her heal her deep-seated issues. The work was difficult, but enlightening for Cam as she healed. She finally let the little boy leave her in peace. She found her healing path to help those who are ready. She mastered her work through dance. After a few months, Cam's life was dedicated to helping people less fortunate. She helps them release their emotional pain, which also eases their physical pains and ailments. The work she does is transforming.